Welcome to Trenton Today. We're here at Trenton Central High School and joined by Mayor Reed Gusciora and a couple of the seniors at Trenton Central, Elier Leyva and Ulysses Villanueva. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having us out.
Thank you for having us out too.
And good morning, Mayor Gusciora. How are you feeling today?
Good morning. Great. I got a chance to go to the gym this morning, so I'm all pumped up and ready.
Yeah, we were all describing our mornings just a few moments ago. I hit the snooze button a couple of times. Elier said he had some trouble getting out of bed today.
Yeah, it was a bit cold this morning, but I got to get out of bed, do school.
Same thing. I hit the snooze button a couple of times, but I got up. Thanks to God.
One of the things that might be motivating Ulysses today is you guys have a football game this afternoon here at Trenton Central High School. Tell me a little bit about your experience being part of this Tornado football team.
Right. So my experience been actually great. I never thought I was gonna love football that much as I thought. Pretty hard, but if you actually put mind to it and study it, it's actually pretty easy than you think. I'm actually excited that today is our very last game. It's gonna be one good game. We're gonna have fun, which is the most important thing about sports. I just advise everybody to come out, support the team one last time, our seniors, and just to experience Friday Night Lights for people that haven't experienced it before.
It's kind of an unusual game time because we think about Friday Night Lights, but today's game is on Thursday.
Thursday, yes.
And you guys starting around 4:30?
Right, 4:30 is the game.
So by the time the game is over, you guys will be under the lights.
We will.
Trenton Central High School, and the Tornadoes taking on West Windsor Plainsboro
South.
South.
Wow.
The school without walls. They have
What's
no walls in there.
What?
At the high school, yeah.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Just have open classrooms.
What is it, like open campus?
No, it's one building, one high school, but they don't have walls.
I've never been there, so that's interesting.
So you could literally see what's going on in the next classroom and the next.
Yeah, my daughter had a situation like that, but then you could hear also what was going on in the
that's
next classroom and the
that's
next.
throwback, yeah.
And maybe it was a little bit distracting.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would think it'll be like distracting because let's say you're trying to do a class and the next room is being loud. I feel like that could be distracting. Like, how would y'all feel if y'all in the classroom and you could hear everybody and you could see everybody else around like the next room?
Yeah,
They have a dance class going on, and you're trying to do your math homework.
Well, here on Trenton Today, we talk about what's going on in the capital city of New Jersey. We get to spend some time with Mayor Gusciora, and you were asking Ulysses about the new turf field and Trenton putting together some funds in order to resurface the football field here at Trenton Central High School. Ulysses, how many games has it been throughout this whole season, or how many games have you guys played on the turf surface?
On the turf,
Yeah.
we played, if I'm not wrong, 4,
Okay.
but today's about to be 5.
Beautiful.
And the soccer's played on there as well. isn't it?
Right, they have like 2-3 times.
And I want to say that the school is very thankful for everything y'all did. And I see y'all repairing the tennis court right now, which is amazing. I feel like it's good and opens new opportunities for new students that want to play the sport.
Yeah. One of the things that the School Development Authority, the state actually put the funding for the school, but they only did bricks and mortar, so they wouldn't touch fields. And so the city is the one that purchased the turf field.
Wow.
We felt that was important. Plus, you have a jewel of a school, and then you have a ratty old football field. So we wanted to replace it, and hope you enjoy it.
That's great that the state is helping us and providing us this amazing stuff, and we are very thankful as a school.
Very
now
thankful.
the football field matches the great facility here at Trenton Central High School. Good luck tonight to the Tornadoes as they get set to take on West Windsor Plainsboro South. Elier, you were telling me about the Lego Club. What is that about? I mean, do you guys put together Legos?
Well, this is the thing. This is a new club that just was formed this month. It's brand new to the school.
Like an after school thing?
Nah, it's like in school. So let's say, you know how lunch be crowded sometimes. There's a lot of people, and you just want to get away from people, just spend time by yourself or just have fun. There's this thing called the Lego Club. You go there, you could build Legos, you could sit down, just relax and eat, and just have a great time. And I think it is very good for students and other people that don't like being around a lot of crowds and stuff like that.
How big would the Lego sculptures be?
I would say they giant. We building right now. I'm building a mansion. We starting from the bottom and then working up to the top. And there's like different types of builds you could build there. And the teacher, he provided us like manuals how to build them. So like it's great.
Well, last month when we were with Mayor Gusciora, he was telling us a little bit about this upcoming election and the offices that are up for grabs. Getting closer to Election Day, one of the things I saw on the ballot is going to be a question about the school board makeup and whether or not those school board officials should be elected officials or whether they should be appointed officials. And Mayor, what's your take on that? From what I was looking at years ago, they were elected officials. The choices that were made ended up being a little bit more divisive and not providing the best educational experience. I don't know if we want to go back to that. Any pros and cons? What's your take on all this?
Well, I'm voting no, and that's because our school board is appointed. They all have to be qualified. They all have to have some kind of educational interest or background. We're looking for expertise that know how to run a school system. If you have an elected a school board, it's just showing up. Whoever can make it to the ballot, and these very same people that run our city council into dysfunction are the ones that have proposed having an elected school board. So they want the exact way they run the city council to be run as a school board. And I think we should keep politics out of school business and just do what's right for the school.
Yeah, that'd be great. Then the school board could be as dysfunctional as city council. Yeah, that might not be the best approach. Now, who appoints the school board members right now? Is it your office? Maybe that's one of the other objections that they have?
Yeah, that would be an objection that they have, but the mayor does. And again, they have to be qualified. They have to apply, and we can screen them and make sure that they fit into the fabric of guiding an entire school system.
And at school board, I mean, these are the people who kind of help to create these programs like the Lego program and put some of that stuff in place, provide extracurricular activities and stuff. They're really an important role that they fill. I also saw you signed, I don't know if it was a piece of legislation or an executive order about a Citizens Advisory Council helping to reduce the amount of violence that's happening in Trenton. What is the role of the Citizens Advisory Council? What are they supposed to be doing?
Well, we want to try to get citizen participation. We have everyone from members of churches to some of the other nonprofits that are run by the school. I mean, run by run independently of city government. But we really want their perspective on how policing is performed in the city. Crime, they go over crime stats, make suggestions. So this is an opportunity for citizens to participate and help with the public safety goals of the city.
You know, before we talk more about the Citizens Advisory Board, I want to ask our student guests here, Ermer and Ulysses, what would you guys want a school board to provide at Trenton Central that maybe is not here right now? What kind of programs do you think Tornado students are hungry for? And I know, Ermer, you thanking the state and the city for all that they do provide, but what more do you think they could do for you guys?
Well, right now we got a lot of great things going on in the school.
I mean, that's kind of an open question. It is difficult, so I mean, I'm putting you guys on the spot a little bit, but you guys would know better than we would about what's going on here inside the walls of the school.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like one thing that maybe we could work on more is like communicating with the kids and the students, trying to keep them away from all the violence and all the fights and everything going on. Yeah, just try to communicate more.
Ulysses, what's your answer to that open question about, what could improve the experience for students at Trenton Central?
Right. So as earlier said, communication, which is highly important. First thing that's always come to my mind, communication is key. I say I've always been thinking about the school probably opening a club for students to come in. They got any situation going on, talk it off. You know, stays like they could trust the person who to talk it off because it stays between them and his or her person.
Kind of like some counseling services.
Right.
Right.
But I wouldn't say just one-on-one. I mean, yes, one-on-one, but like in an open public, not open club. That's what I'm trying to say. Because where clubs is where like people unite, try to help each other, try to fix each other and everything. I always thought that was actually a good thing to do.
And come out and support each other.
Yes.
Be there for each other.
Support. Try to tell other students, please maintain out the hallways. Try to stay away from violence. Because one thing we know, parents will not want you in violence.
Exactly. And I also feel like we in school, so we shouldn't be afraid of anything happen. Like, we should feel safe in this environment. And I feel like in the school, maybe we need a little bit more security guards, or we need at least a police officer around or outside the school to make sure we're all safe.
Yeah, I would say I was seeing security, right? Mostly females. Nothing's wrong with that. You know, we love the female security guards. But, you know, when it comes to a big gang members fighting in a school, the female security guards wouldn't intervene that much. I'd say put more males.
Yeah, all great suggestions. Mayor, you were telling me before we got started with the show that you guys are opening a RISE program, a RISE center, and it sounds like, although that wouldn't be here on the campus of the high school, it's filling some of the things that these guys were talking about. Someone to talk to, somewhere to go after school and get together with like-minded individuals who support each other.
We wanted to, we recognize that a lot of the students, their parents are working 2-3 jobs, or their parents are gone, or they're raised by grandparents. And we wanted to have a safe haven for kids to come after school. They could do gaming. There's a kitchen in there. They can learn kitchen skills. We'll have computers in there. We even have a laundromat in there so that students could do their laundry there while they're hanging out. Have showers in there. And then counselors will be in there to kind of be there for them to discuss what's on their mind and try to have alternatives to just duking it out on the streets. Or so we want this to be a safe environment, and it's opening this month. So we're excited about it.
So, Mayor, hearing the thoughts of Ulysses and Elier, how could Trenton Central respond to some of those issues?
One of the things that we did was we formed 2 street teams. I don't know if you had any interaction with them. One is run by a church and one's run by the city, where we have counselors, ex-offenders, citizens of all walks of life. And they're actually there at some of the schools while they're coming in and going, and trying to intercept any kind of violence and try to counsel the teens right there on the spot. I don't know if you've seen any of the street teams yet.
Yeah, what I want to say about it is that I think it's a great idea that sometimes after school there's a couple people, like, they come out, they cross us the street, because this street is always busy after school, and I feel like they're keeping us safe from getting hit by a car, and they around campus just to make sure we all good and go home safely, which is a great thing.
Yeah, an extra set of eyes is always good for safety and keeping everybody doing the right things. That communication piece that you guys talked about, though, very important. My daughter's school this year seems like they now are sending me text messages. Some of the teachers are taking the initiative on their own to send me a message about a progress report or about some other development at their high school. And Mayor, sometimes that communication, it doesn't require a big initiative or a budget line or something. It's just, somehow that message getting down to the teachers to be a little bit more communicative. And I don't know, mate. Sometimes these things, you don't need to have big policy changes, just a culture change or an atmosphere change.
One of the things that we did was a reverse 911 so that we can feed information out to neighborhoods or to the citywide, and it could deal with public safety issues as well. But usually school closing and the like.
Right.
So communication is really important, that government be able to get to as many of the residents as possible.
Well, we're going to step aside and take a quick break. We'll be back in a little bit. We want to talk about Trenton Waterworks, about what's going on with the medical situation in the city of Trenton. So some big topics to get to. And we got Ermer and Ulysses hanging out with us. It's Trenton Today here on WBCB, and we'll continue in just a moment.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny-O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Welcome back to Trenton Today. We're here at Trenton Central High School, the home of the Tornadoes, talking to a couple of Tornadoes, a couple of senior members of Trenton Central High School, and Mayor Reed Gusciora. And we're getting closer to a big election, and a big one for Trenton because the mayor's office is up for grabs. I think most of the city council offices, except for one. Is one guy coming back? All of them.
Well, one councilman is running for re-election, but the rest will be 6 brand new council people.
And as we get closer and closer to the election, it starts to become silly season, where like crazy stuff is said and weird stuff starts to pop up, but some big issues are in the minds, I think, of Trenton voters. And one of the things that has become I think an issue for this election is Trenton Waterworks. And tell us a little bit about the state of Trenton Waterworks, Mayor Gusciora. I'm looking at some reports about little midges or something in the water, about the reservoirs not being covered, but then also that city council had an opportunity to cover those reservoirs and to do some things where they were going to bring in some, I don't know, like tanks, like separate tanks.
That's alternative storage, or you can get a cover, just basically a pool cover over the entire reservoir.
Right, but it seemed like those issues were voted down. Where do things stand right now? And I don't know, looking at it from the outside, it seems like the timing of this issue is a curious one, as it is so close to the election, and there really hasn't been a change in the quality of Trenton's water.
Well, we pump 28 million gallons of water every day. We service 63,000 households, and comes out to about 200,000 consumers of our water. And we have one storage place, and that's the reservoir. It's up on Pennington Avenue. You could probably sail a boat. That's how big it is. And but it's one storage facility. We've been ordered to disperse the water around the system because if you have 5 storage tanks in each municipality and one goes out, you'll still have 4 storage tanks. But if the reservoir goes out, if there,
There's no backup.
There's no backup
Right.
at all. And we intake water right above us in the Delaware. It's filtered in the filtration plant that's on Route 29. Then it goes to the reservoir, and then it gets dispersed out to the 5 municipalities, including Trenton. One of the things, because of climate change, we have more algae in the reservoir, so it's a challenge of getting the algae out. It's not abundant, but there's a risk to have more algae in there. And then there's these small insects called midges that feed on the algae. We're actually working with Princeton Hydro, a water engineering firm, to resolve the algae and the midges problem. So that's been taken care of.
I mean, is the algae potentially an opportunity? I mean, in this day and age of alternative energy, I've heard people talking about using algae and, I don't know, having ponds specifically for that purpose, and then that becomes an energy source. Probably a little bit more tricky.
We
than
could put seaweed in there, and you could put it in your salad.
Well,
but no, the reservoir is strictly supposed to be for water and purification areas. One of the things that DEP has been stern with us, they've noticed that council has voted down a lot of system upgrades, voted down moving the reservoir to storage tanks. So they've stepped in, and they're working with us to, under a consent order, they can, if council votes down a system upgrade, they could say, no, you have to do it anyway. And that's going to be really helpful for the long-term success of our water department. We could sell the water department, but if you get an influx of $100 million or more, then what happens when that money runs out? And we are very competitive with other water companies, and we think we produce a good product, and we continue to make improvements. So that's why we look forward to a more cooperative council, so we can get stuff done with the water department.
is there independent testing that's done to the water? I mean, does Trenton Waterworks, have they have their own laboratory?
Yeah, we have a lab, and there's DEP oversight, but we test the water about every 15 minutes at all points in the system. So that goes pretty well. We haven't had major environmental violations since we took over the administration. And we hired 70 new people for the water department. 90% are Trentonians. One thing, to get a promotion in the water department, you have to get these certifications. And before, you had to go to either North Jersey or South Jersey to go to classrooms and continue in education. And it was really hard, a challenge for a lot of our residents to go to those places. We partnered with Mercer County College to actually hold the classes right at the filtration plant. And we just graduated 22 of our water workers, and so they're now advancing in the water department. They're also getting raises, and so it makes improves the morale, but also helps produce better water.
I don't know about the utilities and such too much, but it sounds like an expensive proposition, and you don't get a lot of money for water. Like, like each gallon, you must be getting like minuscule amounts of water, or of money coming in. So does it cost more than it brings in, or it?
No, we have about an $11 million surplus this year, which is pretty good. But the water company does make money for the city of Trenton, so we want to keep it in city ownership. It's the second oldest water system in the nation. Philadelphia was the first, and Trenton is the second. So, it has a lot of infrastructure aging issues. We're working on replacing lead service lines. We replaced about 10,000 lead service lines, and we need to replace another 10.
So guys like Ulysses or Elier, if they were interested in moving into that direction, or hire people right out of high school.
Yes.
Some great opportunities for Trentonians to work, either the water department or the police department.
And that's why it's so important to have those continuing ed classes right at the filtration plant, so that the workers can seek promotions and learn more about the process of cleaning the water system.
Before the show, you guys were telling us kind of what your post-graduation plans are, and maybe getting into some of the trades, but an opportunity maybe to go into a different direction and be employed by the city of Trenton does seem like a pretty good opportunity. You can stay local and have a career, maybe in law enforcement or in one of these other municipal avenues.
All right.
What I gotta say on this is I'm very open to look into different things, and it's good that they opening opportunities for us and new working opportunities, and I feel like that's a great thing for us, especially now that we're coming out of high school. We're gonna grow up more, and we're gonna need a job, and we're gonna need to take care of ourselves, and it's good that they opening opportunities for us.
And is that something, Mayor, when they're interviewing, hiring, that they're looking first at people who live in Trenton?
Absolutely, that will help, and because you'll also get a jump on when the entrance exams are, and when we're interviewing. We're going to probably be hiring about 50 new police officers, and two of the highest paid jobs in the city are firefighters and police officers. So that's also a potential career for some.
Ulysses, what are your thoughts about Trentonians working for the city of Trenton?
My thoughts are actually pretty good, offering new jobs right after high school is something if students actually don't know what to do yet, they could give it a brand new shot. Who knows, you might like it, you might not, but it's worth giving it a shot. Life is all about taking risks, and who knows, maybe that could actually be something you love. Like, I guess I'm really thankful that you are opening new jobs, hiring, because me, as a person, I like to try new things. I already have plan A, plan B, C, D for my future, just in case one job doesn't work. Boom, I got another one. And actually, I would actually like to give it a shot of what you're saying about hiring. Maybe I might like it.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely. And they're great careers. They come with pensions, health benefits, and so we have a lot of happy Trentonians that are working for the city.
All right, well, we're going to get back to the show in just a little bit. We're going to step aside right now. Got to ask Mayor Gusciora about the state of the budget for Trenton, and also we will get into, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about?
Talk about the hospital.
Oh, yes.
St. Francis.
Yes, we'll get into that when we return in just a little bit.
All right, great.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you, because your opinion does matter.
Welcome to the capital of neurosciences at Capitol Health. The human brain and spine are very complex, and treating them requires a hospital that offers a combination of technology and specialists that are united by a single defining purpose, putting you and your family at the center of exceptional care. From brain tumors and spinal disease to strokes and aneurysms, if it involves the brain and spine, there's only one Capitol Institute for Neurosciences, and it's at Capitol Health. To learn more, visit capitalneuro.org. That's capitalneuro.org.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Welcome back to Trenton Today. Trenton Central High School, they need a win on the football field and have an opportunity to do it today, this afternoon, against West Windsor Plainsboro South. One of their players, Ulysses Villanueva, is with us. We also have Elier Leyva and the mayor of Trenton, Reed Gusciora. And Elier, you were telling us at the break that you're aware that they're going to make some changes to Capitol Health Center, which is right near Trenton Central High School.
Well, yeah, I always keep up with the news, reading about it, and I heard there's going to be a new change. They're going to take the St. Francis down right next to the high school.
It's big news.
Yeah, big news, and I'm aware of what's going on.
So, Mayor Gusciora, what is the state of what's going to happen to that piece of property? We talked about it last month. Sounds like the plans are continuing to move forward.
Yeah, St. Francis is an aged building, and it would have to be replaced. Even if you could save St. Francis, it would have to be rebuilt. And the good thing about St. Francis, it has a specialty in cardiac care, and Capitol Health has a specialty in trauma care. And they are certified by the state, and the reason why they have to be certified is state doesn't want hospitals to compete with each other. So St. Francis has the monopoly, so to speak, on cardiac care. Capitol Health has the certificate of need for trauma care. If St. Francis closes and the parent company just walks away, then that certificate for cardiac care just goes away. It goes back to the state. And I know in Hamilton, Robert Wood Johnson would love to have that.
Right.
There are other suburban hospitals that would take it. So Capitol Health has proposed to acquire St. Francis, and the certificate of need for cardiac care would remain in the city. So that would be a good thing for the hospital system and healthcare in general for the city. What Capitol Health proposes to do is to lease the space of St. Francis and have a new emergency room services there. So you'll have emergency room services at Capitol Health and still have them on the footprint of St. Francis. The other proposal is looking for a maternal health center. I know Reverend Boyer in Mount Zion AME is going to open one up, but there have been no births in Trenton for a long time, probably about 15, 20 years. When Mercer Hospital closed, maternal health went somewhere else. So this is an opportunity to bring that back, but have better and improved health care right on the footprint of St. Francis.
Are you concerned that this could be a repeat of the Mercer Hospital situation where that building is still unoccupied?
Yeah, the tragedy in that is that they just put it up for sale. A developer took it, and it had a successor of ownership since that time. And the last developer wanted to reimagine Mercer Hospital to senior living space, to have medical arts there. But because COVID came around, it just put the plans on hold. So it is unfortunate that it's sitting there. The good thing about what's different in St. Francis is Trinity Health, before they leave the state, will demolish the building so it won't remain as an eyesore. And the developer can come in and reimagine that block.
All right, so reimagining that block, is there a hope that is like a downtown revitalization? That's a great that's a great spot.
That's part of it, but they'll have emergency room services there. Capitol Health is committed to continuing emergency care, because Capitol Health can't service all the emergency needs by itself. Need to have a satellite emergency care, and by placing that at St. Francis. St. Francis has 191 beds. 2 weeks ago, they only had 45 inpatients. So hospital care is changing.
There's capacity there.
Yeah, the dynamics of medicine has changed. Less hospital stays. We have urgent care systems throughout the region. Managed care, the insurance doesn't cover long-term hospital stays like they used to. So the whole model of a hospital has completely changed. So you can't sustain 2 hospitals in the city, but what you could do is keep the medical services that are needed in place.
Last night there was some public comments, right? A public hearing, and it sounded like a lot of people were in favor of the move. Representatives from Trinity Health were there talking about why this was going to be a positive for Trenton, but there were also some residents there that were talking about some reservations that they had just with the ability to get emergency service in this area. Where would they have to go? I mean, about how long would it take to get to the other? I mean, up to Hopewell, I guess, in some situations.
Well, Capital Health, Helene Fold, is expanding emergency services over there on Brunswick Avenue. They're committed. The building would not be demolished right away, so emergent care would continue to be serviced there while Capital Health is expanding. And then in the meantime, when they take down the building, they want to resume emergency services in a new facility.
Man, as residents of Trenton, you guys have any thoughts about some of the changes that have been going on here? And I mean, that will be that is big news, like you were saying, Elier.
What I think about it is I'm for it, and I think it could be a positive change. We're gonna see later on in the future, but as of the moment, I think it could be something better and maybe an improvement to our community and for Trenton.
Like Elier said, it's actually good. Actually, when I heard about St. Francis shutting down, I was surprised. I was shocked because, that hospital been up for a while, right? And not only
over
that,
150 years there.
Wow.
On that site.
Wow. Not only that, I actually remember my dad actually got surgery in that hospital. So, I was still shocked. I was like, wow, St. Francis is actually going to be shut down. You said 150 years. That's going to be a good memory to stay there. But it's all about the future and everything, bringing happiness and peacefulness and wealth, which is important.
Right, and the best medical care possible for the
Yes.
residents of Trenton. And as you guys work towards that, Mayor Gusciora, tell us a little bit more about this maternity, I guess like a maternity ward opening up on the second floor of the AME church. Like I said, maternity healthcare has moved out of the city, and that's when Mercer Medical closed. Mm-hmm.
So babies are not born in the capital city anymore. They're primarily born in Hopewell campus of Capital Health. We recognize that because a lot of folks have transportation challenges, and we're not just talking about the birth itself. We're talking about prenatal care and also post-birth care. So Reverend Boyer got a $2 million grant from the state to build this or remodel, and it's actually separate from the church. But it's next door. It was a schoolhouse, and remodel it into a maternal health center. So it'll be really cool that mothers and expecting mothers can literally walk, or it's a short ride to Mount Zion AME, that's on Pennington Avenue, and they'll be able to have more access to health care, not less.
A $2 million investment. When would that facility be up and running? What kind of timeline are we looking at?
It'll probably take about a year to build out the facility, sooner than later, and he's also looking for other grant funding, and I think it's an exciting project, and the city wholesale supports what Reverend Boyer is trying to do.
Well, looking forward to these plans coming to fruition. One of my concerns would be, what if Trinity Health changes their mind, or what if one of these organizations that says they're going to do X, Y, and Z decides not to do it, is there any recourse that city government has, or that you guys can, put their feet to the fire and make sure that they actually fulfill the promises that they made?
Well, the State Department of Health has to approve the hospital merger between Capital Health and St. Francis. So they could actually put conditions on Capital Health to make sure they follow through.
A timeline?
Yeah.
Right.
Capital Health is here to stay. So they're going to stay in the capital city. Trinity is going to walk away whether Capital Health acquires them or not. The danger, if Trinity walks away and closes its doors without being taken over by Capital Health, then the certificate of need for cardiac care just goes back to the state. The state doesn't have to bring it back to Trenton. They could give it to Robert Wood Johnson in Hamilton. They can give it to Capital Health in Hopewell.
Well, then that would be like a loss of services going out of the city.
Very big, because there are a lot of people that have heart conditions that have come into St. Francis because the specialty is cardiac care.
Well, that's the state of the situation when it comes to the hospitals in Trenton. We're going to step aside and return in just a little bit for more of our Trenton Today discussion. We got Ermer Lieva with us, Ulysses Villanueva, and the Trenton Mayor Reed Gusciora, and we'll continue in just a little bit.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel. WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Back here at Trenton Central High School, it's Trenton Today on WBCB. Let's circle back to the topic of safety, especially safety in high schools. This week we were rocked again by another school shooting in the United States of America. And Ermer and Ulysses, what you guys already mentioned that, there are times that you don't necessarily feel completely safe in school. What do you think can be done? I mean, we walk in here, there's some metal detectors. Ulysses, you were mentioning the security guards that are around. I mean, maybe more eyeballs and more feet on the ground in order to help the situation.
Right. Most security guards, the metal detectors, I say, people go in, it just beeps. Security guards do anything about it. So that's why you never know if a person has, not to say, I'm not accusing nobody, a knife or whatever worse, a gun. We need more security check for that.
You got to make sure that that metal detector is there as a safeguard.
Right.
You got to make sure that it's being executed the right way.
Exactly.
Elier, what's your thought about safety in schools? And maybe it's a bigger issue too. I mean, it's okay. A metal detector in a school, security guards in a school. That's great. But if there's so many guns that are around and there's a culture of violence that is part of what we all experience, I don't know how we change those things. But any thoughts?
First of all, I want to say that it's very sad and tragic what happened in St. Louis, that school shooting. I can't imagine what the parents going through. And I feel like this is not just one state thing. I feel like this is a worldwide problem. And I feel like there could be some improvements into schools and better security. And I feel like we just got to make a change and just work together and try to keep everybody safe around us, especially our kids. And the young generation, because soon we're gonna be grown-ups, and we're the ones coming up next.
Yeah, Mayor, to me, I do think maybe it's those bigger social issues that are at play. But how do we protect our future leaders?
Well, a lot of the guns that come into Trenton come from out of state, where they have lax gun laws. So a lot of them come in from Pennsylvania or South Carolina or Virginia. And it's a national issue that really has to be resolved by Congress, and I see that you have the conservatives really obsessed with reproductive rights, and that they want to regulate every movement of a woman's body, but then when it comes to guns, it's hands off, and they don't want to have any regulations. And the Second Amendment is not limitless. It's a well-regulated militia, and so we hope that Congress well regulates people's access to guns.
I got to admit, I don't see that
happening
in the near
soon.
future.
Yeah.
What else could be done? For instance, Trenton Central High School, there are safeguards in place, and you just have to, I think, rely on the goodness of one another. That's kind of Pollyanna and naive a little bit, but I just wish we could all trust each other a little bit more. I think that would go a long way.
I think I'm a little older than you, but when I was growing up, and maybe you, we didn't really think of lockdown mode, and we didn't have shooter response drills
No, it was
in
just
schools.
a fire drill. That was as far as it
In
went.
the 50s, of course, they told you to go under the desk in case of nuclear bomb.
Yeah, I missed that stuff. But
and it is a shame, because students should focus on their studies and their future, and not have to worry about whether somebody's going to bring a gun or a knife into the school system. And we do have to take note of the culture that we're creating. I'm starting of the age that a lot of the gaming is the violence, and promoting it, and so some of these kids think they're just playing a video game with a gun, and they'll even admit it afterwards.
I mean, do you guys think there's a connection between gaming and that type of gun violence that we see in our society? Because I'm not entirely sure about that. It does it makes sense on a certain level.
Desensitizes a lot of the kids to the violence.
What do you guys think?
What I think, it could be a part of it. I'm not gonna say it's wrong, because there is some people that think life is like a video game. They think everything that you do in a video game you can do in real life. And I feel like there's different parts that play into it, like mental health, things you could be going through home, and the people around you, your neighborhood, and just the way you just grew up could be part of it too.
Ulysses?
I'd say the same thing. Me, I don't really play video games. I'm an outgoing person. I like adventures. But I'd say it would have some connection with it, because like as earlier said, people think life is a video game. Life is not a video game. Life is a very serious situation. But people just take it as a joke. But yeah.
Well, you're too busy putting in time on the football field. To
Right.
be doing too much gaming.
Exactly. Taking big hits, reading, studying the playbooks and everything. So I'm not really into that video game stuff right now.
Now, Elier brought up something really interesting, though, Mayor Gusciora, that comes up when we talk about violence, about guns in society, mental health issues. How can the city of Trenton better serve your constituents and allow people who maybe are, I don't know, thinking wrong to start thinking right? I mean, or to process things in a more healthy way.
Yeah, the two things that we brought up are the street teams that do have counselors
Right.
with them. We also, at the Rise Center, they'll have counselors there to talk to kids that have, they don't want to bring it up to their parents or even their friends. And then the city itself hired 2 mental health counselors for our neighborhood health clinic, and we really want to get them involved with police, to have alternatives to just locking them up, talking to some of the panhandlers, see if they want to get into drug treatment. So it really helps when you have counseling tools so that you can avoid incarceration, or you can help neutralize domestic violence and the like.
And I guess when I was saying, we need to trust each other more, I think counseling is probably more important in a lot of situations than having security guards there watching everybody and seeing what they're doing. To be able to talk to somebody and to talk out what you're going through, let's double the amount of counselors that we have. Now, we don't need to cut the security staff or whatever, but to have more people out there that can connect with folks that are going through something, I think that would move the needle a little bit more than having the metal detectors. And we're everybody's going through things, and if you can talk it out, maybe you can avoid some violent situation or making a mistake.
Yeah, and you have a lack of you have a hopelessness out there, a lack of a future, lack of jobs, and it really feeds into this neighborhood on neighborhood violence, a lot of anger issues, and where counseling could help, street teams could help to intervene when they have those neighborhood conflicts.
Well, we are just about at the end of our Trenton Today get-together. Before we break for the next show, any upcoming events, Mayor, that you want to highlight here for the city of Trenton? I mean, we want to make sure everybody gets out and votes on Election Day. That's coming up pretty soon.
Well, we just got a $500 approval of doing a makeover for downtown Trenton on Warren Street, and we're going to put some Christmas lights in the trees and
Nice.
Just spruce it up. We want to put in new sidewalks, curbings, and so really to have a more focal point to invite people from out of town and come and enjoy downtown Trenton.
A little facelift. What do you guys think about that? I mean, how the city looks sometimes reflects how you guys feel about the area that you live in, and even cleaning up the neighborhoods, I think would help potentially with people's mental attitude about where they live in and where they're from.
I feel like since we're the capital of New Jersey, Trenton, I feel like if we clean it up, we try to help people, and I feel like more people will come and enjoy it here. Like, we don't got a lot of people coming in as much, and I feel like we could make a change and an improvement, and maybe more people will come and enjoy it, and maybe more kids and students and parents could actually feel safe and feel like they could help around the community.
Yeah, Trenton has a lot to offer, and bringing more tourism dollars to the city of Trenton. Mayor, you've talked in the past about doing something, I don't know, maybe it's next year, where they're going to do like a historic push about the significance of the city of Trenton and the formation of the United States.
Yeah, we're about to go up on our 250th anniversary as a country in 2026. We hope to get a lot of the historic tourism to come in to retrace General Washington's footsteps in the capital city, do battle reenactments. That's the only kind of violence we approve of. You have the Hessian old barracks. We even have the Douglas House that people don't know about in Mill Hill Park, where George Washington had his headquarters. So there's a lot of historic spots around Trenton that were critical to America's success during the Revolution.
I mean, one of the other issues, though, in Trenton, right now, there's not really a lot of places to stay. Any plans or any developers that potentially could put up a hotel or some other type of spot like that?
Yeah, I
remember
had
the old Marriott for years.
I had a discussion about that yesterday. We had someone who purchased the hotel, and again, because of COVID and other issues, they decided to mothball that. There is a new parent company that's taking over the grounds of the hotel, and we hope to have discussions with them about what their plans are with the building.
Yeah, 'cause that would be a big part of staying at Trenton. You got to have somewhere to stay. A lot of great spots, though, in the surrounding area, so no reason not to come to Trenton to check out some of that history stuff. And I got to check out some of those spots that you were describing. Ulysses, you know about these historic locations in Trenton?
Well, I did know about the museum, but as you're talking about historical,
The Hessian barracks and stuff like that?
I didn't. Isn't that the museum, right?
Yeah, the old
Right.
barracks.
I was actually going into looking, because I'm into historical stuff. I would actually be interested in looking into a lot of historical stuff here in Trenton. I've heard a lot, but I really haven't been able to, how do I say it, how to get into it, because I've been confused. But I would love to be interested to take footsteps into looking into it. I advise people to come out, come enjoy it, see how it used to be back in the days, and just have a fun experience.
I mean, Trenton don't get no respect, like Rodney Dangerfield. Like,
Yeah.
over there in Bucks County, they say, oh, that's where all the historic sites are. Well, when they crossed the Delaware River, guess where they came? To Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Fought in the
and
streets.
that's where they fought. So that might be even more significant than getting in the boats and traveling across the river. This is where they traveled to.
Yeah, and it was an interesting story, the whole background where the British encampments were down in Bordentown, and whether they sent up enough troops to intervene with the Hessians. And George Washington outsmarted them by lighting fires along the Assapink, and they thought they were still encamped. In the meantime, they took the back road into Princeton. So it's a really fascinating story, and we hope to get that out and get especially the schools involved in that experience.
I guess the other part of the story, when you're over in Bucks County, it sounds like, we over here went over to Trenton and took care of the Hessians, and that's where they were at. And but there were a lot of people who were supporting the revolution over there as well, who helped to make that a successful trip across to Delaware.
Well, Governor Byrne used to say they did all the heavy lifting in Trenton while they did the paperwork in Philadelphia.
Well, again, you guys kind of have more of an initiative, a push to have people visit the city of Trenton. And yet, before we get together next time, it'll be Election Day. So decision day for the city of Trenton. We encourage everyone to get out there and exercise their right to vote. And even that now has been under fire recently about the quality of our elections and all of that stuff. Anything that your office does to safeguard the process?
Well, I think people are more sensitive to it. We have the Attorney General overlooking. We also have the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, the County Clerk's Office. So we hope that there's going to be minimal problem. There's always snafus in anything,
right?
But we hope to keep that at a minimum.
And Ulysses and Elier, you guys going to be voting this time around? I mean, as seniors, I'm not sure, you're 17, 18 years old?
Well, now that I'm 18, I am looking to vote this year.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm going to go out and just see and vote,
Take a look at the candidates and
take
make
a
your
look.
decision.
Exactly.
Excellent. Ulysses?
All right, sadly, I can't yet. I'm only 17.
Not yet?
Not yet, but, when I'm 18, I will vote, though.
Next
hopefully.
presidential election. I know my daughter will be able to be of voting age at that point, so...
That's good.
That'll be awesome. Well, again, everybody get out and vote. Thanks to Mayor Gusciora for being with us here for the show. Thanks to Elier Leiva and Ulysses Villanueva for being our guests as well. And thanks to the Trenton Central staff, Mr. Coniglio and Mr. Francis, for all the work that they do. Our video engineer, Brianne O'Neill, Bill Redner, for putting the show together. We'll catch you next time on WBCB for Trenton Today.